Hi, this is Tracy Collins of Healthy Black Girl Podcast, a weekly podcast centered around Black women in all aspects of our mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, and physical health and healing. Come join us on this journey. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Healthy Black Girl Podcast. And today, I am so honored to have Jazzmine Brooks with us here on, Healthy Black Girl. And I think Jazzmine, I know she has a hoodie. I don't even remember how you got the hoodie.
I was ambassador. You got us one for.
Oh, right. Okay.
I still rock it.
Okay, well, I think I need to drop the link because I don't even promote these, but it's actually one of the most healthiest hoodies the most comfortable, warm hoodies that I have. But aside from that, today we are going to be talking about Black girl wellness and embodying wellness and what that means to us. And I thought Jazzmine was just a perfect person. Not only is she smart as shit, y'all, she's smart as shit. Sometimes I'd be like, damn, I'm like a little, I need to tune up, but it's just, she has really taken on a journey of embodying wellness into her life. And so we are going to delve into that. Thank you so much, Jazzmine, for being here on Healthy Black Girl.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to connect with you, share my story. As always, I'm very fond of you. I'm your little shadow right now, just your little shadow.
Oh, thank you. I swear I don't even be knowing. I think I just be in my little corner in my tunnel.
You do your stuff. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Stay in my room, do my stuff. Mind my business, drink my tea.
Girl, when I tell you I am excellent at minding my own business, I'll be like, okay, and so tell the people, first of all, just a little bit of your background, and then we're going to just go into your wellness journey.
Yeah, my background is so tied to why I do wellness today. So I was born and raised in Chicago, south suburbs, Dalton, Illinois. Shout out to Thornwood. We moved to Vegas, and between those periods of time in my life, I had shifted communities and cultures. I was raised in a very Black predominant neighborhood to very white affluent neighborhood, and so being the only created a lot of stressors. But I think with all the work that I've done, I loved being in community and being with people. So I went to school for journalism and public administration and got into higher ed and wanted to create, community for students, because I was like, I wanted that community. I didn't have it myself. So been in higher ed for 10 years now. It's kind of crazy to think about it. Done violence prevention work, done sexual education. I'm now a PhD student in my last year.
Congratulations.
Ending this winter is crazy to think about. My research is on Black midwives and reclamation of traditional medicine. I've just loved the birth work that I've arrived in through the MBDA family. Have since helped create tons of different projects and programs. Got married in between that time.
I remember. Yep.
I was trying to find myself when I arrived at your doorstep. I was like, I cut all my hair off. I didn't know what.
I was just sitting here thinking, I remember when her hair was short.
Man, I tell people all the time, that was a rough part of my life. Something had to change. And somehow I found you on Instagram, and I was like, I need to meet this woman, and I need to come to this training, and I need to be a doula. And my partner was like, okay, when is this happening? So yeah, I think today as it stands, I'm just trying to live a soft life. I've done a lot for others. I want to turn this back to me. I want to travel more. I'm interested in expanding my 501. I have a 501 now. I want to become a birth assistant. I think that's pretty new in my world. And I'm trying to have a baby. I'm trying to be a mom, and I'm so excited about that journey and what that could look like for me, because I'm like, my kid is going to get all the things I had and wish I had, and I'm so excited to see who they become because of that. So yeah.
So what was the moment that was it was like your aha moment, your epiphany that was, I need to turn this light and focus it on me? Like, what was that aha moment like for you?
I think I had a few. The one that stands out the most, the first year of our marriage, I was in just pure chaos. I didn't know who I wanted to be as a wife. I have ideas about what that looks like from the women in my family, but for the most part, they've mostly had to operate from this place of strife and complication, never just pure joy. And I'm like, I have this man in my life that loves me and is creating a safe haven, and I don't know what to do about it. And I remember being so angry all the time and fussing and picking fights. And he looked at me and he was like, I need you to, I need something to change. Like, this is not healthy for us. And this is the first time someone's holding me accountable for my anger as well. And I
Mhm.
was like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I feel alone. I feel like I don't know where to turn. I don't have anybody to talk to because they tell you not to like share what's happening in your marriage with other people. So it was like I don't have friends that are married. So I was like, what do I do? And I decided to go to counseling. I was like, okay, let me work on my day-to-day stuff. I know there may be some toxic trauma in here from my childhood, but I'm like, I want to be okay day to day because I need to be able to operate and function because I was just sad and having extreme suicidal ideations. Like, I'm very open about that in my Being Olivia podcast. That's also what I started. It was like my journal to the world. I felt like as a Black woman, I never heard someone say, this is what it feels like to go to counseling. This is what it feels like to heal and be on a healing journey. And so my first counselor and I worked on those day-to-day things. And I remember the last day we met, it wasn't even planned, but we looked at each other and we were like, I think you're done. And
Mm,
he was like, I think so too. and I
mm,
and I cried because I was like, wow, I feel like I have an idea. And then right when that happened was right when I found you. And I was like, I need to become a doula. Like, I was seeing all the issues that were happening, Black women here. A lot of folks were pregnant around me, and I was just like hearing their stories. And as a Black woman does, just, hey, I'm about to go take on the world and fix this. And it just was a perfect overlap, like a perfect overlap to come into that space and be seen in a way that I haven't been seen in like ever.
mm,
Um, and it set it off from there. But it was a conversation of accountability that was like, no, like, we can't do this. This is not healthy. It's not safe for you. If anything, it's more for you, not for us. Like, I want you to be okay. I
mm,
see that you're not okay and you can't keep doing this to yourself. I love you too much to
mm.
watch you do this to yourself. And I was like, that is powerful. Yeah.
What a gift he was for you in that moment, and what a gift you were to yourself to be able to receive it, hear it, and then take the necessary steps to begin to do the healing work that needs to be, which is arduous work. It's very, very hard work that takes a sense of accountability, introspection, and then a commitment and dedication to what wellness means and embodying that. So once you decided today, okay, not today, once you decided to make that change, what did that look like for you? Like, you spoke about therapy, which I'm a huge advocate for our mental wellness, because if we're not mentally well, we can't focus on anything else. So as you began to really focus on your mental wellness, what were some of the physical things that you did for your body to help support you on this journey?
Yeah, I think, with counseling, we decided on once a week for an hour. We work through kind of what was showing up in my life, and at the time, getting married, and my parents still going through the trauma of their marriage at the time. I think everyone just goes through seasons, right? And my my identity was so tied to my parents' marriage. I came around. They had me literally, a few months later after they got married, and so everything about who I am was trying to make sure they were okay, whether they accept it or not, like that's my identity wasn't mine. And I had to notice that and realize that through conversations. I'm a big proponent on homework. I tell people you shouldn't go to counseling and just sit there and complain, but to really unpack and do the work in between your sessions. So we talked about things I could read. I remember reading Body Keeps a Score,
Mhm.
um, reading some healing type of like affirmation things that she would give me. She would kind of help me map where my trauma was in my body, and oftentimes it's in my stomach.
Mhm.
I hold my breath. I was realizing that I was
Mhm.
also food restricting without even noticing. Because it
Speak
was
more about that.
yeah, so to punish myself, I would not eat. And I
Mm.
just skip a meal. It would just be, and sometimes it would be unconscious and then sometimes it would be conscious because I didn't have any control and I didn't want to do anything else to myself, but I was like, let me just skip a meal or maybe I'll forget to eat and it'd be okay. So it was helping to push
And
my,
you're small.
I
Like, you guys,
know,
I've seen this girl in person,
yeah.
and she is not a big girl.
No, little. And I've been the same weight through I got my hips in college finally because I was so upset. It's like I look like this little stick for all my life. So I got my hips and my boobs in college. And so then after that, I've just been the same weight for like years. Um, so I didn't even realize I hadn't been losing any weight. It was just restrictive eating and telling myself like, okay, if I'm going to eat, I'm upset, I'm going to go get fast food. So it was really just unloading what were my triggers, what
Mm.
were the common experiences I was having from the time I wake up to the time I go back to bed. I had to unwind all of those things and start asking myself these questions about like what is happening, what messages was I telling myself to have me feel like I need to maintain this chaos. Because the other part of what they don't tell you is how much are you holding yourself accountable? Because I'm so used to chaos, I'll just promote it if I don't see it.
Mhm.
And so then I had to unpack that too. So
Child, if you could say that again for the people in the back, and I think Black women are have got that down packed, unfortunately, that toxic trait down packed. So repeat that again for the people in the back.
yeah, like you're so used to chaos in your life that if anything is good, you will destroy it. Like even if you don't want to, and you'll sometimes blame other people for it, but I'm like, no, I started that fight. I started having those feelings. You know what I mean? Like I had to really just say to myself, what am I doing? Because I'm in this loving relationship. He coming in the house and I'm on Love and Hip Hop already. Like, and he
Mm.
looking at me like, what's going on? He's like, what did I do? Um, so yeah, it was like I had to start asking myself questions, sitting with myself. Being in Iowa was very isolating, and I think it was also a blessing because I had no distractions, no one to run to or call to be like, girl, you know what they did, blah, blah. I had none of that. I had
Mhm.
to only sit with myself and say, what are you doing for yourself today? How are you going to love on yourself? How are you going to lead with intention?
Mm.
Yeah, it just started this unraveling, and it's been 6 years of unraveling. Um, Eventually, went to a different counselor and got a psychiatrist.
Mhm.
Um, I got assessed, and I have ADHD. Um, and I'm clinically, I don't claim this, but I'm clinically depressed.
Mhm.
I think I noticed that I'm very functional, and I think as a Black woman, we feel like, oh, if I can get up and do what I need to do, like I'm fine. But like, no, I've learned to understand my body and how my sadness rotates, how my joy rotates. Like all my emotions just kind of rotate throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the season. I'm affected by the weather. I'm affected by all the whiteness, right? Like
Mhm.
you have to break things down little by
Right.
little. Like you can't do this in one day and 1 year. Like, no, I feel like this is a lifetime of healing. I don't think I'll ever be fully healed, but I'm getting to a place where I'm like, I can coexist with the 9-year-old Jazzmine that was never had never felt safe. Like me and her are always in a battle when things happen, when life changes, when stuff becomes unstable, when I have a very hectic calendar. I'm like, okay, let me go sit in the shower, just let
Mhm.
the water run over my head and just take a minute.
Mhm.
What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What messages are I'm saying to myself? What messages are around me? How much are those things true or not true? What is in my control? Right? Like I just try and cycle through those questions the best I can. Some days are bad, like I'm irritable,
Mhm.
I'm ready to smack somebody, but I feel more in control and not lashing out as much as I used to.
Um, when I was planning my wedding, you would always come to mind. I never told you this, but I remember when it was in, because you've taken, not to bring that here, but you had taken multiple trainings under the MBDA, and one of the things that you said was planning a wedding has been stressful. Getting married was stressful. And it wasn't just the planning the wedding, it was getting married. And so, and the 10 months, I think it was, that we planned our wedding, for some reason, and I never felt stressed about our wedding, but for some reason, I was like, just kind of, you were there. You were very much at the focus, like at the center of my thought process during that stage of my life. And I never shared that with you, but I just remembered to make sure I paid attention to myself, because I didn't want to feel what you were feeling at the time. Because I remember I remember the exact moment you said it to me, and I don't remember much. I have like the worst memory ever, but I remember what matters, and that hit me to my core. And so the fact that you are speaking so highly of your husband now, and what he said to you, and how, he held you accountable, it I mean, it's so beautiful. But speak about just that time in your life, and and how the planning or getting married was making you feel.
Yeah, we were long distance for 4 years. We got engaged. We're still trying to figure out what we were doing. So like a lot of what was happening to me was, what is my next steps? Like if we were to move, what job will I get next? I don't know if I want to stay in higher ed. I didn't know who I am. Like I was like, I'm experiencing depression. I didn't have a counselor, so I'm just rolling with the punches. I was drinking very heavily. He did not know this, but I didn't notice it until one day, because in Pittsburgh you can't buy alcohol on Sundays. And so the day I walked out of my house to go get more wine and the place was closed, I had a whole meltdown. And that's when I realized, like, I am drinking for a different reason other than to relax. And I'm like, this is not good. So
Mm,
between the time of engagement to moving to Iowa, lots of work between us. I was the one to move us here. I don't know if we really fully sat down and said who's moving where. It was whoever's going to get the job first. And he was like, where's Iowa? And I would say he wasn't perfect. Like Jordan was making my life real hard sometimes. And I'm like, how our marriage is today is like night and day from when we started, because lots of gaslighting, lots of, pointing fingers, tit for tat. And, I think for me, I'm just a good fighter and he's not. He shuts down. And so I'm like, I'm ready to go in all the time. And so planning a wedding is hard because we had to figure out a place to go first. Our families are all over the country. And we were like, okay, let's go to Vegas. And then how to get everything there. Our older family was experiencing a lot of health conditions. So would they be able to be there? I was sad for a bit because my dad's father and his mother, weren't in the picture, and it just became a reality of the makeup of my family for
mm,
something that's so important to me. I
mm,
never asked or demanded things, but I was like, this is such an important part of all of us blending families. I want everyone to be there regardless of our relationship, and to know that I couldn't invite certain people, and I had the wedding of my dreams. I always told Jordan though that I wanted it small and simple, and it just became this big thing. And I look back on our pictures and our video, and I love it. We were beautiful. I had a great time. I woke up with positivity, like it was a beautiful day. I had no worries the day of. But everything leading up, it was like holding my breath, like, oh my God, I don't want so and so to get sick and they can't come. Like, what does this mean? And hope the weather isn't bad. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to lose focus in our marriage. Like the wedding is whatever. I'm like, but I'm about to marry someone and commit to the rest of my life. I'm like, do I even know what that means? And no one, I kid you not even my parents, talked to me and said, is this what you want to do?
Mm.
No one, everyone had a conversation with him. No one had a conversation with me. Not at all.
Mm.
And my dad says he didn't because he's like, I know you and you have never brought anyone home, and you bringing him home was enough for me to say that you knew what you wanted. And I'm like, I appreciate you trusting me. And also, I would have appreciated a conversation to make
Mhm.
sure that I was okay. You know, I was like, that would have been what I'd change, is for me to have a conversation with my mom about being a wife, and am I ready, and what's on my mind, how am I feeling. Like it was like we woke up and started drinking mimosas, and then the day started, and I was like, no one asked me, is this what I wanted to do? I'm like, I guess, am I not showing jitters? And I put on my veil, and I had a whole panic attack. I told him take it off. I was I did this. My veil was too close to my I strong arm myself, and I hit my bridesmaid. I was like, no. Just like, take it off. Wait a minute. And they were like, oh, is this the moment? And I was like, no, it was a lot at once. And I was like, let's just keep the veil off for a minute. I need a minute. So
Mhm.
um yeah, it was, I don't know. I see it from so many different perspectives today versus like that first year. Cause we got we've changed so much as people, as a couple, and been through so much trying to, work towards a baby. Like it that day, I tell people your wedding day should not be the last best day of your life as a married couple.
Right.
That's the first best day, and maybe your engagement would be, or the
Yeah.
first day you said I love you. But like our wedding, I was like, yeah, that's a great day. But I'm like, man, we've had so many other pivotal moments that I'm like, that makes up for all of what happened or could have happened that day in that time period.
So you spoke baby.
Yeah.
So as you are in your wellness journey, what has the last 12 months been like?
Yeah. Um, well, I being a doula, you're just so aware of like nourishing your body. So I've been first just changing my eating habits. Like I said, I was food restricting for a bit. I haven't done that. I may do it on and off. I think today, the past like 2 years or so, I haven't necessarily done it. I'll think about it, but I don't act on it, which is huge for me.
Mhm.
Um, but I've been changing. I call myself a fake vegan. My best friend is vegan, and I'll eat like plant-based meat and still put cheese on it. Like I can't help. I was like, I still have a taste and wait. I was like, I still want something on this. So
Yeah,
we're working on it.
baby
But
steps.
baby steps. I've no sugar. I'm a salt eater anyway, so that wasn't a big issue. Trying to have more fruits and vegetables. We got a juicer, so
Mhm.
I just feel better. I Even if I'm tired, I still feel this like goodness in my body, which feels great. I have my backslide moments. I'll go get Popeyes, right?
Mhm.
So I tell even my clients, I'm like, you have your moments, it's okay.
Mhm.
Um, Finding the right doctor was a challenge. We started IUI last year, and it just didn't feel right.
Mhm.
Like it didn't. I can't even describe it. It felt, there were times, so we did it 3 times, and it was times where I felt like they didn't even try. Like I was like, I don't feel anything, right? Like it just felt like this emptiness, like I was cattle.
Mm.
And so we changed doctors. I ended up finding another doctor recently and walked in there, and it was night and day. He knew about my pelvic floor condition. We
Mhm.
walked through potential complications and risk. He was talking to me as a human, and I'm like, I needed that. And I told someone the other day I had to do a sonohystogram, and they let me sonogram myself. Like, they gave me the wand because
Nice.
they knew I was, concerned and worried. And they were like, you can put it in yourself. And I was like, thank you. And it
Mhm.
was so cool. They were like, wait, don't put it in too far. You put it in too far, you see over. I got it in. It was such a positive experience. I was like, and I bawled my eyes out afterwards because my body felt so safe and I
Mhm.
felt this release. Also, what has been beautiful in these past like 13 months or so, I've been traveling more. And so I took my family to Disney World.
Oh,
And I
nice.
was like, I'm trying to give my 9-year-old self what she needs because I know that this has been a hard process. And, making the decision to go to IVF wasn't easy. And I didn't want to at first. And so I remember last time I went to Disney World, I was 9. So it was interesting to go back in that same spot at 9. And now at 30, at the time I was 33. Um, and I just cried watching, Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. And it was like, my husband's like, are you okay? And I was like, I think myself like needed this.
Mhm.
And then to be able to take my parents, I went to Vegas for a week, just me. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna keep doing that. I think I'm gonna keep traveling for a week by myself because I noticed that that was such a healing for me to be able to just do it on my own. I had a really good connecting time with my dad. I take my mom everywhere. I don't really take my dad anywhere. So I took him out to a really nice dinner. So it's just really like a full circle moment, spending time with my grandmother, hearing her story. She's finally willing to share with me about who she is and how she's felt all these years. Because I feel like I need that, thinking about like what mothering means. I've been writing about it, reading about it, ushering people into it. And I'm like, this is my time to caretake. This is my time to really embrace and identify who I want to be and it not be rooted in, well, this wasn't done for me. And I didn't like how I was treated then, but really just to sit with myself again
Mhm.
with this new journey and say, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? And it's been a blessing and a breath of fresh air, to be honest, now than compared to last year. Um, I feel good. I feel really good. I feel strong about what the possibilities are in these next few weeks, and we'll see. I've already like told my friends. I have a best friend as a photographer and a fashion designer, and I was like, you know what? I'm the real Black doula. Doula being pregnant is different from anybody else. I
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
this is my brand. So this baby about to be epic. Okay, we call our baby our variant. Like this is gonna be epic. So I'm excited. I'm thoroughly excited and happy.
I'm so excited for you. And it's so good to kind of see you grow through this,
Mhm.
and watching from afar, so what does a typical day now look like for you?
Yeah, I wake up with gratitude first,
Mhm.
and I wake up and talk to myself about what I'm proud of, what I'm happy and looking forward to for today, regardless of what it feels like. I'm a prayer, so I pray to God.
Mhm.
I ask my ancestors to help guide me today, help disrupt any challenges that come my way. I ask for help in bringing people into my world to help uplift me. I think that has been a big staple of my prayer for a while now, and it's been helpful because I do a lot in places that are extremely chaotic and unmanageable sometimes and out of my control. And so I'm like, I need some angels sometimes to pour into me and to see me because I get down sometimes. Um, I take my time getting up. I joke and say I do get dressed and shower in the dark. I try not to introduce too much light into my face.
Mhm.
It heightens my senses and it's just too much. I'll either drink some water or eat like a fruit or something or both. I try and do something, I would say healthy because, like, I don't want to define health for everyone, but that's for me to wake up my gut.
Mhm.
Um, I go and walk my dog. I have a 4-year-old blue healer. He is rambunctious, and I didn't realize this, but getting blue is a big part of my healing process. I got him as a baby, right after I came back from the doula training. I think a year later we got him, and he's just fun. Like, everything is playtime for him. He don't know boundaries around that, and so he's always been the thing to force me to get up and move around. And he's been such a light. He knows when I'm sad, and he comes in, like, puts his paw on me. Like, he's just become so adjusted to my world. He's my little buddy during the day. Yeah, walk him, feed him, um, probably take a shower. Now I'm introducing more yoga in my life. I'm an instructor now, so trying to find.
Congratulations. How come I didn't know that?
Yeah, I'm just now started. I got certified last fall, so I'm just now starting it. Fully focusing on it as a business and wanting to create space around culture. So we're going to be doing some radio station flows starting this Saturday. So Lauren Hill will be up first because the miseducation was very informative for my years of life.
Right, as it was for everybody at the time. It
Exactly.
really, no matter what stage of life you were in,
Listen,
it
I
just
was young.
was.
Listen,
Yeah.
I was young. Talk about X Factor. It was like, yeah, I try to. I also do this thing that I know a lot of people can't do, but it's so helpful to me is I rearrange my schedule.
Mhm.
If I had scheduled something that day and I know I can reschedule it to give myself a break, because you just schedule stuff and you just things go. But I'm like, as I get into my week, I'm like, I need to do something different so that I'm not burning myself out, or I notice that my capacity is starting to, dwindle or decrease. So
Yeah.
I go through my calendar and be like, I start moving stuff around and sending emails and saying, yeah, I'm not doing this today. So today I'm like, I'm not going to be at work. I'm going to be remote. Supervisor was like, cool, works for me. So yeah, I try to honor how I'm feeling every time I wake up. So if I have a ton of energy, cool, let's go get some stuff done. I'll go and get a smoothie or my Starbucks and my egg bites, where I go try and do something for myself as much as I can. That isn't demanded, isn't because I'm tired and now I gotta figure something out. I try not to deplete myself to a point to where now I gotta go fill it back up with capitalist things, right?
Right.
Shopping, eating. I'm just
Right.
no, I'm gonna go do something for myself today because I should do that. Like,
Mhm.
that's a required thing today. How can I do that? So I'm like, let me schedule a massage. Let me go and get my toes done. Let me schedule my hair appointment. Like, just at least one thing is often, maybe not every day, but just one thing as often as I can.
I
So
love that. I love the outline of that and giving yourself grace and honor to know how you feel. It requires a level of constant check-in because I'm always there. So I understand what that means. I know how my life shifted when I began years ago, starting it with gratitude. I always start my day giving thanks before I can even come into my full consciousness of being, you know, here. I come into when I know I'm awake, it's like, or I'm waking up, it's like just giving honor and moving in gratitude. Um, and when you start moving in gratitude, it really does begin to shift your life. When you start thinking and implementing things that feel good, I'm sure you've heard me say this, any you are deserving of abundance, and pleasure is your birthright. Abundance and pleasure are your birthright. So everything that you do should feel good. And when it doesn't, you need to address it right away. And for me, I'm so hypersensitive to what doesn't feel good now because I've spent so much time focusing and changing my life to where I can be that way. And it's becoming so much so that like I have to make changes in 2023 because I'm so hyper focused on this does not work.
Yes.
Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. So, what advice would you give to our listeners right now?
Don't argue with basic people.
Don't-
That's like just don't. Let not everything is personal. I think I've grown in my empathy because I'm so attuned with who I am. I'm so secure now. I'm growing in my security that I look at people now and I empathize with the fact that I am talking to their unhealed self. So don't argue with people. Like, understand they're probably coming to you with some stuff. You don't have to absorb it. And if you feel like you are still in a sensitive place to where you are going to absorb it anyway, no matter how much you fight, then you need to exit stage left or talk to them when you have capacity, or you don't have to talk at all. No one should force you into any type of situation or scenario that is going to have you regress after all the work you've done, put you into a part of your character that you don't want to operate from, right? If people are pulling those things out of you, understand, like, you don't have to exist in those things. You could find other avenues, other things. I'd be like, no, I'm not arguing with you. I don't argue with my own. I don't argue with people. Because I think doing people work, community work, there's what people don't tell you is like you're always under attack and you can take it personal so quickly. So like if you are always in this people center work or you got kids or whatever, like, don't take it personal. It is not about you, right? It's them and where they're at in their life. Then the other thing I would say is life is in seasons. Seasons change. So why are you in this season? Like, learn what you need to learn, because the season will keep coming back up because you're not learning the things you need to learn. So right now in my season, I keep learning this. I'm in this cycle of always running. So now I'm sitting in my discomfort. And man, it is hard. I'm finally ready to sit in this. And I'm like, good God, can I quit this job? Like, I'm like, somebody come get me. But I'm like, no, I need to stick this out because I know that I need to learn something in this because it keeps popping up for me. So now I'm ready to face it. I'm ready to massage through it and take care of myself and see what I need to see. Everything else is gone with the wind, but like, what is it that you need to see in this season so it doesn't repeat it anymore? I'm so fond of like not repeating seasons now.
Me
The
too.
more healed I get, the more I'm like, I don't want this season to pop back up in my life no more. So let me learn what I need to learn so I can move on to the next thing. I'm just like, it's the Olympics. I'm here. What's the next thing, right? Because I'm like, I'm 34. I'm still young. I still have so much life to live, so many people to support, communities to create. Like, no, I love who I'm growing into, and you just got to keep trying as much as you can to love yourself. And if you can't do it today, do it tomorrow.
Right. It's a brand new day.
Yep. Grace.
Mhm.
Tons of grace is my last thing. So
Mhm. Well, thank you so much, Jazzmine. Tell everybody where they can find you.
yeah, so you can follow me on Rural Black Doula on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm here, happy to support and engage, connect. But also website ruralblackdoula.co. It's tons of cool things. I'll have a virtual like yoga session starting in the summers. But yeah, I share on my journey on there. So
I love it.
yeah.
So we are going to make sure that we link all of Jazzmine's information so you guys can go and follow her and support her down below in the description. So if you are listening to this, make sure you click the description. If you are watching this, just look below. Thank you, Jazzmine. Thank you so much of being in the Healthy Black Girl Posse, in the Healthy Black Girl Gang. Thank you so much. Thank you for embodying and speaking about wellness, being well and what your journey looked like. Thank you so much for sharing and being transparent, so I really appreciate you. I love you, always have. I just think you are a light. I really do. And there are a lot of people out there who are doing work, but not a lot of people are change makers. And you are definitely one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Healthy Black Girl, and I will catch you next time. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to another episode of Healthy Black Girl Podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms as Healthy Black Girl Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you can follow me personally, Tracy Collins, on Instagram. See you next time.